Bukky Abdul.
Hi.
In person.
Live and direct.
Yes. Thank you so much for making it again. By popular demand, Bukky is back, guys. I know you guys saw her
I don't know if this popular demand is like just 2 people or 3 people.
Bukky,
but
your first video went viral on my channel.
Viral, I'm sure viral is very subjective because what is viral?
Well, this is a channel that started about a month ago from now. And you got 295 videos at this morning.
Wow.
For a 1 month old YouTube channel, that's viral.
Well done, Yanu. Well done. Like I said, I appreciate your dedication to this entire thing.
Thank you.
I think you've given it your all, and I'm glad that my presence gave us some views.
Yeah. That's very interesting. Thank you so much. I think the encouragement and support from people like you and other people really means so much, and it makes me even want to do more. So thank you so much. Guys, you asked to talk to Bukky again or to see Bukky again.
Really?
Here you have it. You have her. So thank you so much. How did you go viral? Why did your video go? What did you do?
I have no idea what I did. Again, I should ask you, what did you do? Where did you promote it? What did you do?
Yeah, I think partly because you reposted on LinkedIn, other people did too, but let's not go into that. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Bukky Abdul, Assistant Director, Career Management, Supply Chain. Supply Chain at UTK is the first supply chain program in the nation. One of the top
supply chain programs in the US.
Okay. So she is the Assistant Director for Career Management at one of the top supply chain programs in the United States of America.
Amazing. That's who I am.
Yeah. And of course, I don't want to go on and on to talk about Bukky and all that she does. Being a career coach. She's also a PhD student on the side. She likes to add that.
I like to add on the side.
Shout out to Michael and Matlock.
They're always like, why do you see on the side? I'm like, I need you all to know that I'm primarily working and doing PhD on the side.
Yeah.
Let it ruffle your feather.
If you want somebody who's very vibey to host your event, she's an event host.
People call me Bukky the host as well, because that's my stage name for emceeing, hosting, and all of those things. I do that too on the side. And I also have a podcast.
She has a podcast.
Well, funny story. I was telling Ian earlier that an employer, a connection of mine, was talking about how they saw the first video that Ian posted because we were talking, and then the person said, "Oh, they saw my podcast." I was like, how would you see my podcast? Because my podcast right now is audio only, no video. And so I was like, what podcast is it talking about? And then he said, oh, yes, where you mentioned that you're doing a PhD. I said, oh, that podcast. Because I reposted it on LinkedIn when he posted. So he saw it, and that's fun and interesting. But yes, I have a podcast as well. It's called The Believers Banter. And I do it with a friend of mine. And our goal is just to banter, but have like godly conversations out there so believers can have good entertainment, but also like great faith, family, career-based conversations as well, which is all fun.
Yeah, well, did the employer subscribe to my channel? Can you
I'll give his number so you can tell him that, hey.
Dear employer, I'm sure Bukky is going to repost this too. Subscribe. Actually, really, because we have, honestly, just about a third of the regular viewers on this channel are subscribers. So please, as you're watching this, if you have not yet subscribed, Bukky's friends, employer friends, please subscribe, like, and comment.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Anyway, yes.
Okay. So, Bukky Abdul, you do so many things. Why am I even calling your name in full? Anyway, we'll talk about that. How does it feel to be Bukky Abdul?
How does it feel to be Bukky Abdul?
Yeah.
I think, first of all, it has evolved over time, because, it wasn't like when I was young, I was like, maybe they ask you, what do you want to be when you grow up?
I want to be Bukky Abdul.
None of that. But I think this identity has evolved over time such that Bukky Abdul has become a brand, a name brand, and just general. But yeah, I just want to say that Bukky Abdul is a brand. But
clock it.
And I think a lot of me and my story, my journey, like I talked about the evolving and everything, I cannot take any of it outside of my faith. I think my faith has really grounded me. It's like when you know the Lord, you begin to know who you are. I'm not here to preach or anything.
Hallelujah.
I'm not here to preach or anything, but it's just like something I've noticed. It's like, because I remember there was a time that the Lord literally said, none of your talents must go to waste this year. And that was when I took hosting seriously. I took every other thing like I do seriously. And
Makeup, hair,
yeah,
photography.
yes, that's
what
true.
do you not do? Anyways, go ahead. Go ahead.
I took all of that seriously, and I'm so thankful because now I can begin to see the manifestations of it. Even the PhD. The reason I started a PhD was because, well, yes, I'm in higher education. It's free for me as a staff. I wanted to get that. My background wasn't in higher education. My background. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All right. But yes, anyway, the Lord said, go for it. And I've gone for it, and I've seen the benefits since then. But Bukky Abdul would not be Bukky Abdul without it being so grounded in my faith. And I've come to really love my name. Like, I've grown to loving Bukky Abdul. Do you hear that? Like,
it sounds very redeeming. So that's
right.
good. Yeah.
And people have also said this, I think, anyway. So with all the many hats that I wear, I think one thing that's very important is I try to weave everything together. It's not like I'm showing up as this in somewhere else and then as this somewhere else. Like everywhere everywhere you see me, you would know that, okay, I love communication. Like whatever that looks like. Either that is through acting, either that is through talking, through helping students. Like there is communication as a trend in all of it. There is also helping people as a trend in all of it. So it's like that's me. And so I take me into everything I'm doing so that it's not just siloed and it's like, oh, this is one. But I think that helps, right? But anyway, I don't know if I answered the question, but like that is what it means to be Bukky Abdul.
Thank you. We'll talk about the name itself at some point, but does it feel exhausting to be Bukky Abdul?
No. I mean, no, I don't think exhaustion would come because of Bukky Abdul. I think exhaustion would just come as a human that is doing several things.
Okay.
I don't think it's tied to being Bukky Abdul.
So do you feel tired sometimes?
Yes, I'm only human after all.
Right.
No, I don't feel tired. I have batteries. I recharge every night. I just plug myself into the wall.
So how many bars do you have now?
I'm low-key. I'm working on one bar left. But anyway, so exhaustion, again, like I said, is not tied to me or, I mean, there's so many things I do. So exhaustion could be tied to that. But I would never really call it exhaustion. I would probably say there are times that I felt overwhelmed or maybe burnt out. And honestly, as I think about it, it's probably been like 3 times or 4 times. It's not often because a lot of times I don't think about what I'm doing. I'm just doing. Not I don't plan for the things I want to do, but I'm not like, it's not like consciously and act. I just do it. I enjoy what I'm doing. In it, most of the things that I do, I enjoy it. So I do it, and then later I'm like, oh,
I did that,
right? Literally. Or I tell someone that, oh, I'm doing this, and then they're like, why? How do you have the time? And for me, it's just like, well, a lot of times, like, well, the Lord said I should do it, so I can do it. Or I just feel like doing it, or it's not a big deal.
It's not that deep.
Does that make sense? But it's later I'm like, oh, Bukky.
It was deep.
That was a lot. That was a lot. But I mean, I've had times that I've been tired and on all, because part of the things I do as well is like church administration. And that's another big part of my life. I'm not a pastor. I'm not a pastor.
Cell church leader.
I'm a leader. I'm a leader in our church.
Deacon.
I mean, you can call that deacon, yeah, because in the Bible they're called deacons. Anyway,
it's like a hallelujah, somebody.
But yeah, so exhaustion, not as much. Tired, yes, sometimes, and I sleep, wake up, watch Korean drama. That, like, I'm talking about how I deal with sometimes if I'm tired, sleep. I sleep, and that's the thing. Actually, I sleep. I think people don't. I was talking to someone and she was like, when do you have time to do? I'm sure you do some late nights. I said, girl, see, once sleep comes for me, it has me on a chokehold. Like I feel like I just want to sleep. If I feel like sleeping, I just go for it. Anyway, I sleep and then choose my time, do some things, choose some weekends when I'm doing some things, some weekends when I'm not doing that. Or again, I do homework in the evening, or
I mean, you're a student.
yes. So weekend I do my homework, and then I go to class in the evening after work. And for times when I have like long assignments and things, I have to find a way to do that. And sometimes really, TMI, but not really. It's okay. I talk about it a lot. Like my prime creativity time is like 4 a.m. to 6 a.m.
Nice.
So between the hours, if I really want to write, so I don't know if I'm really an early bird, but that's when I get really creative. So if I really want to write, and I noticed that for my PhD, because for my work, I'm not going to be awake for work 4 a.m.
No.
I mean, there are times we have events, but that's later. That's 7 a.m. Anyway, so 4 a.m., that's when I write, if I really want to get something done. And I see that I do that very well. But
okay, I feel like there's a lot to unpack about you, but let's start this formally. You are a career coach. You are getting a PhD in higher ed. But I know your background is communication.
Yes.
So can you walk us through how you got here? So how did you find yourself being a career coach from communication, and how did you just connect all of that together, your academic journey?
Oh my gosh, so I love telling the story because I use my life as an example to some students, especially when I was not working in supply chain, when I was working more with art and sciences or communication students. So fun fact, my previous role was I was the career coach for communication students.
Entire university.
So I was within the entire university's career center, but my population that I was serving were communication, architecture, hospitality, retail. So I had a couple under my belt.
I see you at some hospitality events, wedding things and all that.
Exactly. Yeah. So anyway, but that was fun. I felt like that job story was another beautiful one.
We'll talk about that.
But anyway, to your question, why and how did I get here? I wanted to be a doctor.
Oh, like me. I mean,
like a lot of Nigerians.
There is a British Nigerian who made a joke that in a typical Nigerian family, you're either wanted to be a doctor,
a lawyer,
maybe engineer, and disgrace to the family. So a lot of us, at some point I wanted to be a doctor, at some point I wanted to become a pilot.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I don't know if I'm a disgrace to the family right now. I hope I'm not a disgrace to the family.
You're not.
So yeah, doctor.
Anyway, thank you so much. I mean, I'm going to be a doctor soon though.
Yeah, gigi.
Anyway, but no, so I wanted to be a doctor, like a medical doctor. And I really want to just give it up for my mom. Shout out to you. Abdul. Shout out to you. I can't, that's a pet name. Anyway, so I wanted to be a doctor, but I did not like blood. I was very...
Okay, so I feel like
I wanted to be a doctor because I was smart.
The prestige.
Yes, the prestige. And my friends were going to science class. In fact, I was in arts class, and I'll talk about that, how I chose that eventually.
Like humanities.
Yes, humanities. But I was taking further maths.
Chemistry.
And I think I took physics once just because I wanted to show that, I can do this. But anyway, I ended up dropping. I was like, what the heck, man? But so my friends were doing science and all of that. And I'm like, I'm smart. Like I really was showing that. Anyway, but my mom was like,
One thing, background thing about Nigerian high school system. If you're bright, go to science class.
Exactly.
It's a very funny thing. But
so that's kind of like how it was. And so it was weird for me to say I want to go to arts.
Science.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So my mom noticed that I loved talking and I would do debates in school.
Oh, wow.
In fact, there was a time that I was very sick and I couldn't go to school. So in my school, shout out to my
what school is that?
High school, Westfield.
Okay. That sounds like a European school.
Westfield, no, bro. It was Agbado Hill.
And that's, I mean, you can't have Odongwin and Agbado. So like, Agbado is already something.
You need
Let's put it in
Westfield
Westfield.
but actually was a really good school. Anyway, so every Friday we would do debate. That was the way, like, we were practicing. We would just do debate competition. So I was sick and I couldn't go to school that Friday. On that Friday, and I had prepared my speech and whatnot, the whole debate stuff. That Friday, I was crying. My mom and my dad said, "Why are you crying?" I said, "I want to go and do debates." That's it. I look back now, I said, "Girl, what was wrong? Like, stay at home."
Yeah, you loved
So they took me to school and I went to do debate on
While
that
you
day
were sick?
while I was sick, because I was like, I really want to do that. Was in primary 4 or primary, primary 4. Anyway,
So primary 4 will be elementary school here in the
yeah.
United States. Yeah.
Anyway, so that just, my mom noticed all of that and she noticed how easily irritated I am. I want to say I was, but no, I am. I still am. Like,
By what?
like things like Moman Korira. Like, it's just.
Oh, yeah, linking to the medicine thing that you cannot do that thing.
Exactly,
Okay,
yeah. So my mom was like, "Girl, you love to talk." And I was like, "Yeah, sure. I think I noticed that." And then she was like, "Do you want?" I don't know if she particularly said, "Do I want to try communications?" Or someone else said it. Or I just, again, saw that. I was like, doctoring, no, let's try communication.
Okay.
And of course, I love talking. I love being in front of the camera. So I studied communications for my undergrad. And within communications, you can focus on advertising or journalism.
Okay.
I did journalism, right?
Wow.
And within that, I wanted to get in front of, and I got experience working in a TV station. I worked at Lagos Television for
LTV.
my internship. I worked at CTFM radio station post-grad. I worked at Koga Studios. It's like an entertainment company as well. Anyway, I got the experience. Now, before I came to the US.
These are years ago.
Years ago.
One thing I would say here is seeing Bukky do what she does now. It's not overnight.
Exactly.
But we'll come back.
Yes.
She's been doing this way back.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yes. So because I even forgot that we had a radio station in my university.
Yeah.
In my, I went to Covenant. So Charlotte. Anyway, we had a radio station, and I was one of, because once you get to your last year, you become the managers of the radio station. So I was the administrative managers, like in charge of hiring people, but also I had a show. So I've been doing radio, right, for a minute. Then, so I worked somewhere before coming to the US for my master's. So I already got into, or I was trying to get into the US. And I worked somewhere. I'm not going to mention the name of the place because it wasn't a good experience. But that's what
they know
led me to
now, right? If they're listening.
But that experience, I saw how disjointed managers were from employees, and it felt like executive, and then employees were like just random people.
Classes.
Yeah, right. So it felt weird, and I was like, why is this like this? And so I said, okay, let's go study human resources, so that I can figure out and be that bridge, that gap between employees and managers and all of that.
Right.
And for me, it was still like interpersonal communication.
That's after you did communication
After I did communication for undergrad. So what made me decide to do HR for my master's was that experience. I was like, okay, let's go do that. So,
so your master's was actually in HR?
Yes, my master's in HR.
Yeah.
No, my master's in HR. So I did my master's in HR, came to the US to do my master's in HR, and again, beautiful story. The Lord orchestrated it. I did Central Michigan University.
What are you guys
Fire
called?
up
Like
chips.
Chips?
Fire up, chips.
Fire up chips. Go Bulls. Anyway.
Fire up chips. Anyway, and so I came to the US with my master's, and then for the master's degree, if you have a graduate assistantship, they would put you somewhere. And for us, it wasn't graduate research or graduate teaching. It was GA, so it was more administrative because I did human resources administration.
Wow.
Anyway, God, in different ways, I cannot go into the weeds of the story, made it happen that I was able to get a good number of hours for my GA. Because if you don't have a certain number of hours, you cannot work at certain departments. So because I had these hours for my GA, I was able to work, guess where? In the career center. So I did my
really
graduate.
Connects to what you study there, HR.
HR, exactly. So they can only put you in places close to your job, to what you're studying, right? So some people were in like project management experience or things like that. So I was there, HR, career coaching, and I was like, Lord, I see what you did here. Because I fell in love with it. I said, this is amazing.
What did you love about it?
So I love the fact that prior to that, I had been helping people. I mean, figuring, again, being in communication, some people bring things to you, help me correct this and all of that. And it was interesting because I always loved maths. Now I was working on like English language. I said, what is going on? But I stuck with that. So I loved the fact that I could help people. And my main thing was, I love that a student can come into my office and leave differently. Like you can come not sure of what next and all of those things and leave very happy. And I have a story that I share all the time because I think that story is what led me to what I currently do now.
Okay.
It was a story where a student came to talk to me, came to schedule, she had an appointment and then came to talk about resumes. So we're talking about resumes and all of that. And then during the conversation, I noticed that she was sad. Like her countenance she wasn't so engaged in what I was talking about. And she was just sad. And so I stopped talking about resume and I was like, how are you? I mean, and I did check in before we started, just like, hey, how are you? All of that. Yep. So I was like, how are you doing? So just was more intentionally asking her how she was doing and all of that. And then she shared the story of like, I think she lost her grandmother or grandfather or something like that happened. And then she started to cry. And for me, as a believer in the workplace, in higher education, I go in there knowing that I'm a believer. So there are many times that I'm sharing stories with you. I'm not literally saying this is from Matthew 5:22, but I'm using biblical stories to encourage you. Does that make sense?
It does.
And so same thing, I encouraged the girl, but somehow we got in a conversation that, oh, she's a believer. I was like, you are? Okay, girl, let me give you more scriptures.
Hold my Bible.
Literally. So I was able to encourage her with scriptures and she gave me the biggest hug. And I went home knowing that, Lord, I see this is what you'll have me do. Because being able to be in a space where I can encourage as a student, looking for opportunities, but also see you as a person.
Right.
And be able to meet you as a person where you are, that blessed me in no small way. And I knew that I wanted to do career coaching.
That's awesome.
So I did that, graduate assistantship, worked there for the time. When I was searching for jobs to move, of course, I was searching for a job in the pandemic. So 2020 was when I graduated from my master's and I was looking for a job. Now imagine I've been helping people get jobs. Now I was looking for a job and it was taking so long.
On the average, how many students would you say you helped when you were there to get jobs? So like who consulted you and got jobs?
If I do put a number, I feel like I cannot really put a number because sometimes students don't come back to you to say, hey, I got the job. Other times they do. Right?
So that you know.
So that I know, maybe I would say at the very least, being very modest in the time I was there for 18 months or so. I know that at the very least, maybe like 30 to 40 that I kind of like helped with.
So you have a lot of skills, a lot of knowledge. So what happened when you were looking for a job? That's what I'm trying to
Exactly. And that's exactly what I was asking. So, you'll be asking, have I been telling people the wrong things?
Yeah.
Why is it not working in my life? Of course, remember, I'm international.
Yes.
There's a lot of that as well. So there's a lot of like place like visa sponsorship. And it was COVID. People were trying to figure out what they wanted to do.
Yes.
So positions were not open. Yes, it was 2020, right? Like I graduated May of 2020.
Sorry.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that happened and I was looking. I remember I was distraught. I said, like you begin to doubt everything you've told people. I helped people find jobs. I know what a good resume looks like. I have a good resume, and well, I already decided I was going to work in career coaching in higher education. So I was looking mostly at universities.
Why higher ed?
Because my experience as a graduate assistant, I was just like, I love students. Oh, and I love students at that point. Loved students more than employees. So I came here for employees, but I decided, okay, I'm still going to be helping people.
Oh, you came to UT?
No, I came to the master's program.
Oh yeah, human resource.
To help employees. But I was like, well, I would rather help people that would get into those positions,
Yeah,
right?
rather than trying
And
to
then,
change
yeah,
people already there.
yes. So, and I just fell in love with higher education, college, students, and oh my gosh, students became and still are such a big passion for me.
But I hope your students get to watch this. I've seen you with them, and I think there's a genuine connection you have with your students. I've met some of them through you, and it's just so pure and so wholesome and so
Yeah,
warm.
thank
So
you.
shout out to any one of you
All of
watching
my
this.
students, I love you guys so much. So,
So go back to
anyway, so
looking for jobs.
So looking for jobs and all, I applied in higher education. Then I found this job that says, the job literally says, we're looking for a career coach. And we would like a career coach that, because this career coach will be helping communication students. So we would like a career coach that has communications for their undergrad. And your experience, the experience that counts, even if you have just graduate assistantship experience, that
Why are they describing you?
do you get?
Why are they describing
Do you
your
get?
life?
I say, Lord, I saw this position, I said, this was made for me.
Yes.
Because people rarely have that combination.
Specific key things and that combination.
Yes. They rarely have like, oh, we want someone that has communication as background. Anyway, so I applied to that, and I can tell you that during the interview, I would not go into the details.
Yeah,
if this was a spiritual conversation, I would go more in depth. But like I would say that the Lord took control of the interview. The Lord is present in that interview, and I knew I got this job before they offered me. Anyway, they offered me the job, and I came to Tennessee, and it was amazing. It was everything I really prayed for, or I did not even know that I prayed for.
Yeah.
And it's been a great time. So now, working as a career coach, like I said, my background is not in higher education, and helping students. How can I be a better coach for my students? How can I be a better person understanding higher education in the US? I did not do my undergrad here. So there were a lot of things that would go over my head just because I did not know, what are those
honors
things?
program,
Honors program, promise,
yes, Tennessee
SAT,
promise,
excuse me, all of that. So I did not know. I was like, okay, I'm going to do my PhD, or I think I want to do a PhD. And I have a friend, a colleague as well. And I'll shout out to you. I'll shout out to you, Katie Wiley. For me, it was like Katie is married, has kids, works, and started doing a PhD. And I was like, if Katie can do it, I can do it too. So literally, that was one of the things that inspired me. And of course, I was like, oh my gosh, stress. I already was busy. I was like,
when are you not busy?
I was already busy. So I was like, okay. But Katie, just seeing Katie do it, I was like, okay, I can do it. And like I said, the Lord said, go for it. And I went for it and started my PhD in higher education administration. And it's been amazing. Oh, of course, stressful, but amazing because of the things I'm learning and I'm able to apply. I feel like I understand the United States ecosystem, higher education system a lot more. And it was also very beautiful because from the first class, and it was Katie that mentioned this to me as well, one of the first classes you're taking.
Is she also in higher ed?
Yes, she's in higher ed. So one of the classes you're taking, they expect you to have your research idea, what you want to study, right? And I was like, I don't know. I was like, oh my gosh. But I went there with my idea, like, okay, here's what I want to study. And from the first class, so here's how it happened. I was already warned that this professor, if your idea is not good, they would let you know and find a different way, do this, like all of that. So I was ready. I was ready. I said, I'm going to throw it. So they went 1 person, 2 persons, I think third, I think I was the first. And then she already kind of like gave feedback. And then I said mine. She was like, that is amazing. You should go for it.
And that's it.
And that was it. I said,
you're lying.
Exactly.
You lie.
I said, that was easy. I really thought maybe they just didn't like me. Maybe they just didn't want me to do great and all of those things. But I've been
She's scared
so
of me or something.
But I'm so thankful because I've kind of like stuck with that same topic all through. And our classes are such that they prepare you for your research. So I've been gathering data and all of that. And right now I'm taking my qualifiers, and pray for me. If you see this video, put me in your prayers. But I mean, I'm excited. I feel like I've had a great experience. And one of the seasons of my burnout was during this PhD. There was this class, academic writing. From the name of the class, you know you're going to be writing.
It's a writing class.
I was writing and working. I said, whoa, and I teach as well.
Oh, you do? Are you like
I do. I
GTA
teach.
or something?
No.
Because you're working. Why do you have to teach though?
Oh my gosh. Anyway, so I teach right now. It's part of even in my previous role, one class is written into my job description.
Oh, really?
And it's a careers class.
I see.
Yeah, so I
think I've seen one of your slides before.
Yes.
Yeah, that's true.
I teach a careers class for students, and then you can teach for extra pay as well.
Okay.
So I do that too. So teaching first year students, that's amazing. So cool. It's like, I get to see you as first years. And I love it. I love it because, oh my gosh, one of my students is a senior now, and just seeing,
the transition.
Anyway, but so teaching, writing that semester, working, doing church administration. What year was this? I'm trying to remember what else. Of course, braiding hair. Of course, being a daughter, being a friend, trying to have social life, which already went down a little, even though nobody agrees with me that my social life went down.
We'll talk about all these things.
It was I was very tired. I could not wait for that semester to end. It's like I would wake up 4 a.m., right? Try to pray before going to work, after work, right? And I did not like that because I felt like for me I didn't have enough time to pray. And I did not like that. But I've come to understand a lot as I've grown.
Right.
It's that, like, again, our relationship with God, it's quality, not just quantity. And that, anyway, I was about to start. But anyway, so that, I did not like that season. However, of course, I finished the season, to God be I finished. But at the end of that...
Are you done with coursework?
Yeah, I'm done with coursework now. But that particular semester, when I finished that semester, I got an award as emerging scholar in the department.
Wow.
And I was like, Lord, this is awesome. I felt so encouraged.
Yes. So seen.
Yeah, I put my all in this. And so that felt really, really good. Beyond good. I think it was the same year I won other awards as well. So it was amazing. But anyway, I can't remember the exact question.
The question was, how did you get here? And you answered it very well. Yes. So I want to talk about some struggles. I remember a story you've told me. Well, let's talk more about what really happened when you didn't have a job. How long was it? I know the story of a time you were going to work at CMU and it snowed and it was just so bad. So tell us some times that it looked like it's been good all along.
Exactly.
Were there times, even at CMU, that like, am I supposed to be here? So tell us one of that. Maybe there's a snow experience if it's really relevant. And then tell us how you survived not having a job. There may be an international student out there in that situation or about to enter. So tell us more about that.
I'm always thankful for that experience because I can use that to encourage so many people. So what happens in CMU is you have granted assistantship for either 5 hours or 10 hours. They never give you 20 hours. 20 hours captures the entire thing where you can pay your tuition and all.
So that doesn't come with tuition waiver?
It comes with tuition waiver, but only 10 hours or only 5 hours.
Okay,
so if you're taking 18 credit hours, only 5 hours will be...
Oh, gosh, I see.
So only 5 hours will be waived. Exactly. So it's like partial credit assistantship. So I had 10, and so I had to work the extra 10 hours because, of course, as an international, you cannot work more than 20. So 10 hours of GA, and I had to still make money to get the extra 10 hours.
And all that.
And so I did not send me here with plenty money in case you put in bad.
Now you know what it is fine now.
But so 10 hours I was working in the cafeteria.
Okay.
So one of
How
those,
was that?
it was actually So my friends are gonna shame me for this, but I was working in the cafeteria, and thankfully, my job was a greeter. I was not really washing dishes
Okay, just
or
greet
doing
people.
the dishes or being in the kitchen. I was so happy about that.
Which you would love to greet people too, right?
Exactly.
Based
If
on
you
your
look at that,
personality, yeah.
see, right?
Isn't it your CV?
No,
Okay, sorry.
no way. But I did not plan it. They did not see my personality. They just said, greeter is your role.
Yeah.
And I was very thankful for that. I didn't want to be in the kitchen at all. But so working in cafeteria, you would work all the time, even when school is closed. And I was in Michigan, school wasn't really closing for snow, but in the rare cases that it would close, cafeteria would still be open. So you still have to go to work.
So the cafeteria was like in a student apartment,
Yes,
student's residence.
yes,
Okay.
yeah. So the cafeteria was student resident. So I would still go to work, and of course, I'm coming from Nigeria. Of course, I traveled.
Was it your first year?
No, so I traveled a couple of times to the
Okay.
US, but never during snow.
Yeah.
Not in Michigan.
Yeah.
So I was in Michigan. The first snow, beautiful, love it.
Like,
And then
white Christmas,
I
maybe.
know, and then it continued. I said, no, this, and it was so cold. So there was a day to the story that I've mentioned to you. I was walking. I had to go to work. They had canceled school, so they did not clear some part of school of the snow because they had canceled
Students
school.
were not there.
But if you're working in cafeteria, you still had to show up. So I doubled up. What am I saying? Tripled up. Wore like three pants, like tops. I have a video because my roommate got a video. She was just like, Bukky, this is so funny. I said,
Do you mind if I put a video somewhere
No,
on this video?
no,
Okay,
no.
it's okay.
Remember, I said I'm a brand.
Oh yeah, it's okay. I mean, all brands have stories, right?
I
But go
understand.
ahead.
I understand. But anyway, so I was walking in the heap of snow, literally going in because the snow wasn't cleared to get to work, and that was not fun. Anyway, so that I think the struggles during my time as a student was like,
You said you cried in that snow.
oh yeah, like it was sad.
Yeah.
So I cried. I was just like,
What was
is this
going
my
through your
life?
mind? Yeah.
Do you get? It's like, is this my life? Like, other people are staying at home. Why do I have to walk? And why do I have to walk? Why do I have to work in the snow, cold? And then there was a woman that did not give me a ride.
You said you forgave her.
I've forgiven her.
Yeah.
I just remember the story all the
Yeah.
time. But anyway, I cried, and I'm trying to remember other struggles during my time.
Talk about when we were looking for a job.
Yeah, I think that's where I had most during my time as a student. It was okay.
Jolly
It
good
was good.
fellow.
Yeah, literally.
There are people that, and I think maybe I have a little bit of that trait. There are things going on in our life. We're like, okay, it's okay. I'm just gonna,
move on.
but
Yeah.
until the big one hits us,
Yeah,
like the
which-
joblessness.
So joblessness, COVID, living by myself at this time.
Had your friends left?
So yes,
gotten
because
jobs?
so my roommate had graduated and gotten a job. So I was by myself, and I was looking for a job. And again, like we said, I was doubting a lot because I've helped people find jobs. Why was it so hard? Nothing was coming forth. I had interviews, nothing. And there was one that really hit me.
How long did it last?
It was, of course, I didn't start looking for jobs since January because I was graduated in May. So, I got the job August. So it was January to August.
Okay.
I mean, for others, it's not too long. But it was
it doesn't look too long to me.
yeah. But for me, it was like
You've done
your
this
OPT
over
days
and
were
over.
counting,
Yeah.
right? And I've helped people. Do you get? Because there are some people that are looking for jobs, and I see your resume, I say, yeah, you are the problem. but anyway, but like, I mean, so many things, right?
Crossed your T's, dotted your I's.
You get
nothing.
networking that I would tell people I was doing that. And of course, my OPT days were counted, but also pandemic. Pandemic made it real that jobs would be very scarce, so nothing was forthcoming. I had a thought, I can't remember.
What was going through your mind as you were looking for the job?
Yeah, and there was one experience so this job, I interviewed the first round, went well, and then they were about to fly me for the second round.
The
which was
feeling fly already.
I was like, oh my God, finally. And then I was filling out the paperwork for the travel. And in
Visa.
paperwork, they saw that, there's international, and they dropped me. I said, ooh. But meanwhile, let me fast forward to my time as a career coach here. I met them. I met, so I
The
met,
company
because I know it's a school.
is a
It was a
school.
university. So I know the name of the university. I know that.
Yeah, those experiences you
Exactly.
don't
When you never
forget.
forget.
Yeah, you
So I
don't.
met one of their people at some other conferences that we always attend.
Mm-hmm.
And then she was like, oh my gosh, your name looks so familiar. I said, of
I know
course.
you.
I know you. It looks familiar. I know why. But anyway, I wasn't going to place.
Yeah.
But yes, so that experience really, I was sad.
Mm-hmm.
And but what helped me was, honestly, that was when my faith got even more solid. Because that was when I started finding sermons and all of that to listen to. So it got to a point where I was searching. I got one job in Arizona,
Okay.
and I was like, should I go? Should I not go?
Like you got a job offer. Mm-hmm. Okay. Why
But
didn't you go?
it was a weird kind of job. Like,
You want to talk about it?
it was like, I don't know if it was sales. It was just weird.
Okay.
It was just weird.
And you could like feel this is not.
Yeah.
It's not
And
giving.
I was trying to fill out the paperwork. It felt like a small company that they could easily drop you anytime. Anyway, it felt weird. So I didn't go for it.
So despite looking for a job for a long time, you got one that you didn't go for.
Yeah. Yes, actually. Yeah, and that's a good point to highlight. And again, it just didn't feel right. It just didn't feel right. And I was like, Arizona feels so far.
So what would you say to somebody right now who may be going through that phase? How would you encourage the person? I know your coping strategy was more faith for you.
Yes.
What would you say to somebody right now who's like looking, who just want to go for anything?
Anything. I know it's hard to know your worth in this season. Still know your worth. Of course, know it with an understanding that, okay.
With sense.
Yeah, exactly, with sense. Again, the reason I didn't go for that, like there were so many reasons I didn't go for that.
Okay.
One. But know your worth, but also know how to advocate for yourself.
Right.
It's sad, and for us international, we have a lot more work in having to advocate for ourselves. And you have to do that a lot more. One of the things that I always say now is I hate the word unfortunately because of job search.
Yeah.
So I want to say that don't internalize rejection because I did that and I'm glad I got out of that. For me, it was just bad.
Yeah.
For you to don't internalize rejections. It feels very bad that everything, unfortunately, we've moved on. Don't internalize rejection and go again. I want to say I promise, but I don't know your situation, but I can say that the best is yet to come.
Yeah.
As a career coach, we tell our students, for every no you get, you're closer to a yes. And for the jobs that didn't work, you be thankful that maybe they didn't work.
Right.
Because for that other job that I did not get, right?
I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't have met you.
I'm exactly where I'm meant to be. Like, I know that for a certain fact. And so for me, faith helped me. And honestly, if you're a believer, hold on to that. If you're not a believer, hold on to whatever keeps you going. And keep applying. Network. I'm saying this, I said I network, but I don't think I did it as aggressively as I should have done. Because honestly, just give your all. Like, what will happen? Like, literally just do it. So network aggressively. There are other career coaching tips I can share, but I just wanted to mention
you can hook up with her to talk about
exactly. But yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about internalizing rejection. I don't know if there is more you want to talk about how it felt, how you helped yourself, because a lot of us are going through places, times that we're internalizing failure. Like maybe you were the star student. We hear news about international students who kill themselves because they didn't get a job. They've done so well on campus. Okay, so let's talk about the internalizing rejection. How? Because I feel like we're in an environment where this can be really common. People can fail for the first time and they're like, is this me? And they just doubt so many things. It leads to suicide sometimes. We have, unfortunately, record of some students, and not just international, but mostly international, who are trying to like navigate a new environment, and they're just inundated with failures, with rejections, and they're like, no, this is not me. And I have to just say face, and it's just death. So how was that for you?
So my research is on immigrant administrators and immigrant senior administrators to see how they got into it, or the struggles, the challenges. And some of the things you would actually hear is the things that they've had to navigate with systemic discrimination and things like that, and navigating those challenges and those rejections, or what seems like rejection, or you're the main thing where you're coming from, and then here you're like
something.
And so one of the stories I have is how that there was a time I was speaking to a campus partner, and my other colleague was there, and I was saying the exact same thing, and the man was just like, I just cannot hear you. I cannot understand what you're saying.
Sorry,
my accent.
Really? Here on this campus?
Yes, but he's an older person, so yeah, maybe he just couldn't hear me.
I mean, you've hosted events that's...
Anyway, so he said that that poked something in me, because it's like, and it was on Zoom, so there was also that. So it could be technical. And I asked my colleague, "Can you hear me?" She said yes, but
was the colleague on the call?
Yeah, my colleague was also on the call. She was like, "Yeah, maybe you should just slow down or whatever." I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna slow down," and I did. And I think it started hearing me, or you could just see that disgrunt. And the people that have interviewed the pilot study, they've had similar experience. Or one was like, they look at the many people in the room and they don't think, oh, you're the boss. So they talk to someone else first. And then the person says, oh, actually, you need to talk to them. You know. Anyway, so those are some rejections that makes you have imposter syndrome, that makes you just doubt that, oh, do I belong here? I remember that I struggled with my accent when I first started working.
Here?
Yes, here.
Really?
Yes. I struggled with my accent. I struggled with owning that. And I struggled with, I wasn't really thinking about it until that experience happened with that person. And I was like, oh, really? So people cannot hear me? Oh, wow. Why is my accent different? Until so what I think that helped me was, one, I had to pull myself back up and say, girl, you're meant to be here. You were hired for a reason. Like, they heard your accent. They heard your accent when they were hiring you, when you went through your interview. Like, you deserve to be here. And we all have accents.
We do.
Mine is just different. And common global citizenship requires that you listen and intentionally want to hear what the other person is saying.
Of course, work on your accent to be able that people can hear you, enunciate clearly, but don't try to change yourself.
Yes, exactly. So that was something that's like, okay, I'm going to intentionally pronounce more clearly than I have been, slow down, but I know that I'm not different, I'm not odd, I'm not a failure because of my accent.
How many days or weeks did that sit with you before you had to like pull
myself?
And did it affect your work at the career center?
I don't think so. Also, like we said, like,
just move on.
Exactly. Like, oh my God. Oh my! I get to
just find good Gary and moi and sugar.
So it wasn't something I was dwelling. It was something that would come up a couple of times.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh, I'm still dealing with this. So I don't know if it was weeks or months. I wasn't calculating. I wasn't intentionally tracing, but I knew that I got to a point that I'm like, yes, I deserve to be in the room. And so something I talk about a lot is Clifton strengths.
Yeah.
I'm a big Clifton strength person. And I realized that when I did my Clifton strengths, I saw that I had more examples at work, at home, in my personal life than in my professional life.
And that's like role models?
Like examples of how my Clifton strengths were showing up. I had more personal life examples than professional. And it was because I wasn't comfortable in my professional environment yet.
How did you know? How did you come to
so again, as I was doing the Clifton strength and I saw that, my examples were, I'm a coach. right? So like I can tell, like there's that self-awareness to an extent that, oh, I see this happening here, this is not happening here. Why? Oh, your personal life, you feel more at ease, you feel more at peace, not trying to. And so that's one of the reasons I really talk about that performing, which we didn't talk about. Oh my God. But yes, anyway, like that performing thing, I had to remind myself that no, you're going to bring Bukky to work. And now everybody knows my Clifton strengths. Like my colleagues know, oh, Bukky. Yeah. Like communication would show. My top Clifton strength is communication.
Of course.
Like,
I'd be
of course,
surprised.
right?
Yeah.
So anyway, so there was that rejection. And it's also another rejection that I had to battle with all of my life. And
all of your life.
Yeah, so to a certain point, it started around college, and then it was when I did my master's that I think I got out of it.
Wow.
And then when they asked me about my accent, it came back again, and I will explain that.
Oh yeah.
It was that. So I look very young.
Yeah.
Right?
You do.
I look young, and I'm always in spaces where I'm the youngest. So I look like, apart from, it's not even my age, I'm not talking about my age, but like even facially, right? So I mean,
even among your students, now you can blend in very easily.
I still get that. Oh, what are you studying?
No, I am their coach.
Exactly. Like I wear my name tag, assistant director. But anyway, so I look young, right? And so I've been in spaces where I've been looked down on a lot of times just because you look so young, and you're in spaces where it feels like you shouldn't be. Like being in, like if my first year, like freshman year in college, 100 level that we call in Nigeria, you looked at me like, who is this baby that is here?
Where's your mother?
Yeah, exactly. So I had this experience. Exactly.
Someone told you that.
Exactly. So not at school. When I went to write the exams you write before getting into school, I went to write one of it, and literally the man said it in Yoruba.
That means, who is this kid?
Why is this child here?
And you went to write the exam?
I went to write an exam.
How did you feel?
Exactly how did I feel? I had low self-esteem. Like I struggled with that for so long because I had to like put up an appearance in spaces where I felt like I wasn't welcome just because I look so young. I'm sorry that I'm smart enough to be here.
Right.
I'm not going to be proud about that.
I'm not trying to take your space. Like, let me just do my thing and go.
But there are many times I've been looked down on just because of being so young in a space. So that's a rejection I've had to deal with many times. And I still experience some cases where, again, maybe somebody will look, oh, student. And no, I have 6 years of working experience. Again, I'm not bragging.
Yes.
But it's like knowing the worth and being able to
advocate
for myself to know that, okay, no, I deserve to be here. And don't look at people differently just because they look so young and it's not the standard, right? We must be open to things that are not the standard. Again, I worked my way to be here. All glory to God. But it was something that, so I've dealt with those rejection. And I'll be better. And how would I be better is again, reminding myself. That's why I said Bukky Abdul evolved when my faith became more solid. Because I could ground myself in my identity in God, that God is not looking at me that you're so young to be here. Right? And but it's like, oh no, you deserve to be here. I've made you like this. I've made you special. Like I'm thankful for the privilege, for the opportunities that have gotten me to where I am today. And so I've dealt with that for so long. And again, like I said, it got better. And then when someone asked me about my accent, it just came back again. I was like, oh my gosh, again, there's one more thing. And being a career coach and coaching students, being in a student environment didn't help immediately too, because it's like you are still seen as a student, even though you're now an employee, right? And a worker. And I'm not trying to lord that over anybody, but I just want to be seen as that and not a student, because that's what and that's honestly why I say I'm doing PhD on the side.
Yeah.
Right.
So you don't look like I'm a PhD student. No, I'm a staff.
I'm staff. And again, I think learning to separate that from lauding your role over people to understanding who you are and being able to say who you are. I think for us, maybe Africans, Nigerians, I don't even know, I feel like there's a mix somewhere where it's like you being able to say who you are sounds like arrogance.
Yes.
Sounds like If
You're
somebody
not
should
supposed
say,
to blow your trumpet.
yes, if somebody should say, oh my gosh, you're doing amazing. I'm like, oh my gosh,
It's not
I'm
me.
sorry. It's not, I just mistakenly fell into it.
No.
You're doing amazing. Thank you so much. I did that. Or I'm very thankful for that experience.
God gave me the
like
grace.
my colleagues know me now. Or somebody says you look good. I'm like, thank you. I know.
I know. Yeah.
But anyway, so how do you handle rejection? Is again not internalizing, being able to separate what people say and who you are. That identity, I really think a lot of people are going through that.
Yeah.
And you would struggle a lot if there's so many things that people say and you use that, like you hold that tightly. Like an example is a lot of times I'd never want to carry backpack to work
Because of
because I don't want to look like a student. So I have my handbag. But I've got to the point where I don't care. I actually carry my backpack now. In fact, somebody was laughing at me yesterday, like, this your backpack looks like a nursing mother's backpack because it's just like big and I just have throw so many things in there.
Yeah.
But it's like, no matter what you call me, and this example somebody gave and I use it a lot, $100 bill, no matter how many times you rumple the $100 bill, it will still be $100 and it will still have the same value. So it's like, I know my value and I don't give you the reaction that you're looking for by talking down on my value. I'm sorry you feel that way. I'm really, really sorry. But I know who I am. I know who God has made me to be. And I'm thankful to be in that. And I will use that to help others. So one thing I really help people to see is that confidence.
Right.
That you can walk into a room and raise your head up high because you are meant to be there. You deserve to be in the room that you are right now. You deserve to take the table and take the chair and sit by the table. If there's no chair for you, take your chair and sit there. It's something
you sit on the table?
I don't know about that. But anyway, so that's a story that I don't think I've shared publicly.
Exclusive. On academic journey.
Oh my gosh.
I do have a question to follow up on this. So I think you actually already touched on that. Do you think at some point in your life you were overcompensating for that gap? Like, I'm going to do more. They must see me.
Yes.
I'm going to avoid backpack. What was that like? And how did you feel?
I think in college, I did that, a lot of that, like overcompensate, like trying to show up, trying to like wear the big girl pants, trying to be who I wasn't.
Make up for what you didn't have.
And I did that. I'm trying to remember specific examples, but there was a lot of time that I did that. But something else that I used to do for a different reason, I still do it, but now it's for a different reason.
Okay.
So that part of that overcompensation is I dress up nice.
Yeah, you do dress up nice.
Yeah, so it started as I don't want to come into a room. Yes.
Right.
So it started like a front, a mechanism that, if you see me the way I'm dressed, you pay attention. Right?
Yeah.
You pay attention, not just look at, she's young or whatever. It started as that, but now I'm like, bruh, pays to look good, man.
He does.
And if you can look good, why not? Go for it. And so it's become part of my brand, right? That my colleagues at work or in school and things like, oh my gosh, you look good. Yeah, thank you. Like, did you get, like, one of my colleagues said, do you ever
not
dress
just want to, unwind? Is this how you sleep?
I said, actually, I promise you I do. But like, if I'm going out, yes, I know that I'm going out. It's like the way you dress is the way you be addressed.
Yeah.
But again, I can say, and I'm saying this, I think, for the first time, like it started from a coping mechanism, but now it's become something that, I really love doing. I really love looking good and I really love showing up. And if you're building a brand, so when I talk about personal branding, when I teach about it, one thing I say is that people already have an opinion of you, whether you like it or not.
Right.
So how can you curate it? So personal branding is curating the image that people see of you. So
I didn't see that coming. I thought you were going to say that. Can you ignore and just... Okay. So
because
tell me about curating image.
We don't have the time.
Okay.
We don't have that because it's like that. You know that whenever you see Bukky, she would show up
this way.
You can count on me to be dependable.
What if the image they have about you is not good?
That's exactly. So that's what I'm saying. So what I'm saying is that people already have an opinion, whether you like it or not. So curating is It's like selecting or like making, oh, these are the artworks I want to put here. These are the things I want to put. You already think I'm lazy. I'm going to remind you that, okay, I'm actually not lazy. So I'm going to show you what it means to be hardworking. That's what I mean by curating.
Okay.
It's like showing off what you want to be seen, right? And again, we must remember that it's not performance.
You must like it.
Exactly. You must, if not, you'll be tired because it then feels like another deception, another lie, just so that you can be accepted. Right.
I think a big question, I won't talk about that here because there's a lot I can talk about.
Yeah.
A big question with this is, will you always like what you do? I think Uchama's question will come back to that. Like, there are times you have to perform. There are times, you're studying for your qualifiers. You have to, okay, I'm going to perform to pass for this.
I say that. So, I actually have a teaching I've done with that as well. It's like every day is not your birthday. And you must remember that at work, every day is not your birthday. So you must not go in there thinking you're going to enjoy everything you're doing. So instead, find your joy in it. Know that, okay, that part of my job that I do enjoy. Oh my gosh, having to say no to amazing students, I don't enjoy that. But I know that it's part of my job, and think about what's the end goal for this and why am I here? Oh, I love this other part of it. Okay, we're going to use that to keep us going. It's like seeing for the joy set before you, enduring the pain right now, because you know that there's a joy where you know the value of my work, or being a microbiologist, I'm helping this, or this will be the value of my work. Like, what is the value of your work? When you know that, okay, I just need to endure the pain right now, endure this part that's not fun, because there's something else that it will be. And you may or may not always see the value. So you must always remind yourself, this is why I'm doing what I'm doing. This is exactly why. But no, it's not, you don't enjoy everything you're doing all the time. That's not.
Okay.
I mean, maybe, I don't know.
We're running out of time, guys. I have 2 more questions before we go to our
Oh, yeah.
guest
Do we have
curated
time
question
for
with you.
this?
The first one is, do you ever get misunderstood? How do you handle that? Like just being yourself.
Yes.
Like, she's doing too much. I want to like.
Yes. I probably get misunderstood, but some people just don't tell me, right?
Okay.
So I never knew that.
Have you ever known
but I
or
think,
been told,
yes, I've been
sensed it?
Yeah. I think that I've had situations where the perception of me is too much.
Yeah.
Yes.
I can see that. I mean, not like I can see even too much. But I can see people saying that.
That's your perception of me?
No.
It's okay. You can have it.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're doing too much, or you're just like.
Yeah, just superficial or flashy.
Yeah, or flashy. You're so flashy or doing too much. And how have I handled it? I think the same way that rejection, like, I must remember that my goal in life is bigger than what I currently do right now.
To get even flashier. There's any word like that.
My goal in life is bigger than what people currently think of me in that regard. Like, even though I just told you personal branding, you must curate that image so that what people then think of you is what you want them to know. Right. But also, I would be so tied down if all I think about is what people think of me.
Yeah.
People will always have opinions. And of course, I must take feedback. And I've taken feedback. I take feedback a lot. In fact, I ask my students, what should I do differently? Or my friends, like, I take feedback. Of course, is it pleasant when you're hearing? Like, thank you so much for the feedback. It's that. No. And then you work, anyway, I take feedback.
Yeah, I want to talk about a feedback you got that's changed you. Or something. There's something I wanted to come from your mouth now that you wanted to.
Yeah, I can't remember. Okay. I think I've swallowed it and it's gone. But no, I take feedback, and I must be able to separate what feedback is and what is just criticism. Like, literally just criticism. It's not constructive. You don't tell me what to do to be different, literally. And I must also know that some people would say those things just because they aspire to be that and they're not.
Yeah. And also because they're dealing with something in their own life that they've not figured out. They don't even know.
Yes. And honestly, my job is to help you. So, like, my goal is bigger than that. Like, I have a bigger goal. I have, like, anyway.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Moving on. those are just some misconceptions I get, and I don't think there's anybody that doesn't get misunderstood.
Yes,
I think that's part of the package. And like I said, I'm still going farther, so I gotta get ready.
Yeah, thank you. So the last question before we move to our guest curated question is: you're a woman of faith, literally.
Yes.
How do you handle being in a role that's student facing with your faith? Like, because we're in an environment where you're supposed to be neutral in that sense, in a way. How do you not get into trouble?
Yeah.
Literally.
How do I not get into trouble? How do I not get into trouble?
Do you get my question?
No, I understand your question.
Okay.
I'm just
You got into trouble?
That's a mask. Have I gotten into trouble?
Okay.
Well, maybe I have or I haven't. Anyway, I think one of the things I do is that, and I've been telling Christians a lot, or just even understanding that a lot, that our faith is not just like, for someone to get saved, you need to preach the gospel to them. And yes, that's a big part. I must always do that. But for someone that doesn't know and all of that, like a biggest part of how they know is even from those actions. As for me, being such a positive influence in someone's life, I'm bringing them closer to them. I'm bringing them closer to what makes me have such a positive smile all the time, positive influence all the time. So I said that to say that being a woman of faith and taking that in a student-facing role, I don't have to say, oh, Jesus loves you. If you tell me you're a Christian, then I'll tell you, girl,
come on.
You started, let's go. And let's start Bible story. Does that make sense? But I don't have to start that for you to know. Like I said, I would share stories from the Bible without saying Matthew 5.
So do you say somebody I know somewhere? How do you say that kind of stories?
It's like, for instance, when we're talking about endurance, I said that for the joy set before you endure the pain.
Yeah.
That is a scripture.
Right.
And that is something I can use and I've used to encourage
this
people.
Looks like English. Yeah.
Literally. It just or I'm trying. There was one example, I can't remember the example, but there's been examples that I've just used like that. Or literally just telling you, you can do it. I believe in you. Oh my gosh, that goes such a long way. Or going the extra mile for someone in spaces where, so you were talking about the post I made. I won't reference the example so people don't know the exact person I'm talking about. But I made a post on LinkedIn, and one of the people commented that they said, you have a way of helping people being seen, feel seen, valued, and supported. What would Jesus do? Those are things that Jesus would do. Does that make sense?
Right.
That right there is like, yes. That you would go home, you would remember Bukky. Not for Bukky's sake, but I've extended the love of God to you. Because you're made in the image of God. Everybody is made in the image of God. So me as a believer, as one who understands what it means to be made in the image of God, as one who understands that I'm an extension of God, is being an extension of that to you as a person, regardless of who you are. So as my faith inspires my actions, inspires when I will stay back for a student or text a student like, how are you doing? Hope you're good. Or a student reaches out to me about their grades, and I'm not just saying, well, you deserve it. Well, you deserve it. But like, how can I help you? Does that make sense? It's like, and I really want people to see that, to know that as well. Like, that people should not despise the idea of faith just because of your actions.
You do it,
because of who you are. Because now, if I've made you seem valued and supported, you would want to hear whatever thing I have to say to you. And I've had a student categorically tell me that, how do you actually do what you do? Like, how can I be like you? And I said, for me,
cannot be like me.
Hey, like, you can't, well, for me, it's faith. My faith.
She asked.
And I cannot lie. I don't lie, give you.
What did she say after then?
Oh, and then we started talking about faith.
Is she Christian?
Yes.
Okay, awesome.
And she decided to take her Bible study more seriously because of that. Again, all glory to God. But it's like, for me, I know that I'm sent here. And that's it. I must see my role in higher education. I must see my role in the spaces as one sent of God. Not until I say, oh, believe Jesus. But first, with my actions, with my countenance, with like you leave my presence feeling the love of God.
Right.
There are a lot of things that change people that we don't know.
Right.
Like,
I feel it. Thank you so much for
again,
that.
I just want to say that it's what we've been called to do as believers. How can I extend God's love where I am right now? How can I be an extension of his faith, of this faith that I believe where I am? Hey, God.
I think it will start academic journeys faith. Anyway, so now you were part of the people I called initially on this channel to ask questions. I think the first question was from you, which is, if you were not in academia, what would you be doing?
Are you asking me?
I would still want to know if you were not in a career, let me not say career coach, if you were not in a higher ed setting.
I'm doing everything that I want to be doing.
Tell me, what would you be dancing?
Oh yeah, that's true. I dance too.
She dances. Oh my gosh. So what would you be doing if you were not in an educational setting?
I would be doing something with like a TV or something.
Yeah, which you're already doing. You're
That's
planning.
Yeah.
She shot a movie.
She's
a movie. Oh my gosh.
So yes, I made a short film, and
when is it going to be out?
I don't know, guys. I don't know. It's going to be out this summer. We'll see.
Yeah,
But
awesome.
That or I would just travel the world and just be preaching.
Okay. So Marisa McKeague, one of my lab mates, asked a question, which is, who are the people you've not really touched on? Like, who are the people your mom that has encouraged you along the way? And I actually had that question earlier when you talked about reminding yourself that you are meant to be here. It doesn't. If you're facing that kind of thing for the first time, you may struggle to remind yourself. So, who did you turn to at that point? And generally, what people have been helping you along the way in your journey?
I've said my mom. I've said my faith.
Yeah. So your church community?
Yeah, my church community, like sermons, like listen.
She goes to CCI by the way.
Yes, I
Celebration
do.
Church International.
Shout
out. I hope Pastor Aaron sees this. Pastor Aaron sees this. Anyway, go ahead. And Pastor Brown.
Oh my God.
Anyway, go ahead.
But some of my supervisors, like people that, as an international student, like you've had people that have fought for your case.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I know. I'm going to add one thing to that before you go on. Please, and I'm an international student, yes. If you have the chance to encourage, not even give anything, just encourage somebody who has left, even if it's just as close as California, to come here, talk more of another country to come here, please do. We show up every day, but sometimes it's in spite of so many other things going on in our lives. So go on.
Yes, no. Those people, like, because like them believing in me, I'm like, oh my gosh, what are you saying to even believe in me and to make a case for me to be here? That keeps me going. I'm so thankful for them, very thankful for them. My friends as well, like I have my friends that I go and then I say, guys, this is how I think about myself right now. It's not giving. Then they remind me, Bukky, or say, you need to do this. You need to do that. So I'm really thankful for my friends.
To mention names, so it's going to be tricky.
It's going to be tricky.
Yeah. I know. It must have to be Bukky Abdul. Yeah, go ahead.
It's going to be tricky about my friends. They know themselves.
They know themselves.
I don't, I think they know.
Yeah.
And they know how much I appreciate them.
Can I mention an acronym I know about you?
Baddie.
So anyways, Baddie know themselves. Maybe it's not even Baddie, but anyway, go ahead.
Baddie is one. Anyway, so I have that. And then honestly, Apostle Aaron.
Yeah.
Like
shout out.
Like seeing some of the amazing things. Like just
and he went to Covenant too.
Yeah, he went to Covenant. So like seeing the excellence. It's like, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this. But along my journey, it's really been my faith community. It's really been people, like people in my faith community, and my siblings.
Yeah.
Okay, should I shout out one? All of them come for me.
You must shout out to all of them. There are three
All
now.
of them.
Yeah.
All of them. All of
Mention their
them.
names if you
Yes.
want to.
Oh no, it's fine. Like
Okay.
they'll be
It's
it's
too
fine.
much.
No, if not, somebody can use this information and try to trace my life,
Okay.
my family, my siblings. I know exactly.
Yeah, don't mention
They will
their
know my
names.
security code,
I mean,
like security question. What is the name of our sibling?
what's the name of your first
Ask me.
cousin?
God.
No,
But
we
no.
mention where your school is.
Which way I did undergrad, masters. Please don't come for me.
Are you scared?
But no. In this cyber world,
Yeah.
you gotta be.
Mhm.
But anyway, no. I just want to say, my siblings, like, they've reminded me the role I play in the family, and I've been. It's like, okay, you gotta keep going, girl.
Yeah.
You gotta keep going,
You have
and I'm
no option.
thankful. We have no option. I mean, no. But it makes it. It's like, again, seeing the joy, seeing, oh, wow, look at this because of this. It's been beautiful. But yes, I don't know if as one person in particular, I don't even think it can be one person.
never think
And even in higher education, like for my PhD, I mean, my current advisor right now, she's amazing. Lauren, shout out Lauren
to Lauren.
Irving, amazing. But yes, honestly, that's it.
Okay, next question is what is the most significant change you've seen in yourself? If you look at the girl that was told, where's your parents? Why are you here? Who's this kid? Writing UTME to the person who is a career coach, 6 years plus of work experience and PhD in higher ed. What's the most significant change you've seen? I hope positively, but whether positively or negatively.
I don't know about negatively.
Yeah.
Honestly, confidence.
Say more.
It's honestly all that I've said, and how that I was talking to somebody maybe 2-3 years ago, and last year,
Okay.
and we went to college together.
Oh, wow.
And she was like, wow, Bukky, all the things you do now, nobody would have really thought back then.
Yeah.
And I was like, really? I thought I've always been the big deal. I said that in my head, but I know that.
I mean, you said you were trying to be your best at that
Exactly,
point.
exactly.
How did you not see my best?
But no, I also knew that,
There were
again,
things to
because
work on.
that was time I was struggling a lot more with low self-esteem. Does that make
Okay,
sense? So
yeah.
like, I knew that, what she said, very
That's true.
accurate. But the change I've seen is confident. I feel like as I'm saying this now, I'm reminding myself to stay confident, because
Bukky, stay confident in case you're watching this later.
honestly,
Okay, talk to yourself.
You need to stay confident.
Yeah.
Just do it. Just as you've done, just do it. Honestly, just do it. But yes, confident, because confidence sells, and it's attractive, and
Yeah. It's contagious.
yes, I think that's the word. And learning not to shrink. I've really told myself many times to shrink just because of, again, the misconception, or just like a tumor. And I'm like, actually, really, I'm not even doing too much. There's so
I
many
will
people
stop doing it safe. Maybe you not see me again here.
No, because one person in my life really said that.
Yeah, and there are people in your life that when they say things, it hits more than just another person.
One person in my life said that, and I was like, I guess I should shrink. I guess I should. But staying confident, and honestly, what a significant thing I've seen is reminding yourself that without God, I'm nothing.
Right.
Without God, I'm nothing. Honestly. And it sounds more
sounds
great
cliche,
to say, and
yeah.
to say it in front of camera. I'm like, yeah, she wants to be. But it's like, I'm going to go back home and be like, God, thank you for this. Because I feel like even this conversation, I feel like I've seen it before-ish. And I'm just
I'm glad I keyed into what you saw before.
And I'm just like, well, Lord, amazing. I don't know where this will go, but we've spoken so much today, man.
Yeah.
But but I knew that, I've always known that I want to be interviewed. Because I feel like I have a lot of
You have a
things
lot to share. I have
that,
loads of questions running through my mind.
but yeah, honestly, I've always like, one day. And I feel like, slowly. So staying confident.
Slowly. Okay, let's start with him.
Let's wrap it up.
Okay.
Y'all.
The last one is, when do you ever feel like, okay, at some point you might leave academia? Like,
Oh.
when would it be time? What would you see that make you feel like I'm done? Next
Yeah.
thing.
In my head, from my mind, I don't know exactly when, because I see myself in academia for a long time. But my colleague and I were literally joking in this room.
In this room?
Yes.
Okay, nice.
We're joking.
Shout out to the colleagues.
We're joking that, oh, maybe you should go work for this company just because you love. Let me just put it out there. Maybe the company will look for it.
Yeah.
Maybe you should go work for Gallup because you love Clifton
You
Strength.
love Clifton
And I
Strength,
love helping people see it and how they can use, like, oh, maybe one day you should go work for Gallup. So I was like, I never considered that, but
That'd be good.
Yeah. So doing that, and
Gallup.
Gallup,
Your girl is
and
here.
then being a consultant to universities. So
Yeah.
like everything I want to do, even if I'm not in the university, like still adjacent to universities and being a consultant to universities. So that could be, that's that. But in terms of when, I would know. I don't know now. I don't know yet, but I would know, because there was a time I wanted to leave even this school, and the Lord was like, no, it's not your time. Like, or I've gotten offers for other positions outside. Exactly. Yeah. It's like, but I'm like, no, it's not your time. Does that make sense? Like, it's like, but I'm like, no, it's not your time. I know that I'm where I'm meant to be. I'm having a great time, and there's so much to be done here. So I know, not yet.
One bonus question. I was moving from career center to supply chain. Like, what was that experience like?
I thought I'd never leave the career center because I was like, no, I'm comfortable
I felt you were
here.
poached.
Yes, I was, and I'm thankful. But I felt like I would never leave there. My day that I was leaving, the final welfare, I was weeping. Weeping.
Why?
And my current professor was also there because he also came for another person's welfare, and we're all doing the same, farewell together. So he saw me weeping.
Like, no worry, come on, weep in my office.
So I was like, oh, what is it going to be like? But I really loved it. Why? Because I'm now closer to students. I'm able to see students more often than just one time.
If you ever go to Bukky's office, you think it's like a classroom. Each time I've gone, maybe just this summer, but each time during the spring or during the semester I've gone, there are students.
Yes.
Like just hanging out, you know. It's really
I really, like, the Lord, coming into this job, the Lord had to remind me my why, that, hey, your why in higher education is students. So don't forget that. So it's been amazing. It's been amazing. Very, very thankful.
Bukky Abdul.
Thank you for having me.